1. Rock Hudson and Mark Christian. Rock Hudson, the famed actor, became a symbol of the AIDS crisis after his diagnosis in 1985. His relationship with Mark Christian brought attention to the issue of privacy and health in Hollywood. Though Hudson never publicly came out during his lifetime, their relationship highlighted the struggles of many closeted actors. Mark later sued Hudson's estate, claiming he was not informed of the actor's illness. 2. Tab Hunter and Anthony Perkins. Tab Hunter was one of the biggest heartthrobs of the 1950s and 60s, and he kept his relationship with Anthony Perkins, known for Psycho, a secret. The two were involved during the 1950s and early 1960s when Hollywood was even less accepting. Perkins eventually married a woman, but his relationship with Hunter was one of the first major gay Hollywood romances. Hunter only revealed the truth decades later in his autobiography. 3. David Geffen and Cher. Music mogul David Geffen, who founded DreamWorks, was involved in a brief romance with Cher in the 1970s, but by the 1980s, he had publicly come out as gay. Geffen is known for his powerful influence in both music and film, shaping many careers while keeping a relatively low profile about his personal life. Cher has often spoken fondly of their time together, with no hard feelings after Geffen's revelation. Their relationship is a snapshot of Hollywood's evolving views on sexuality. 4. Cesar Romero and Tyrone Power. Cesar Romero, known for playing the Joker in the 1960s Batman series, was widely rumored to have had relationships with men, including actor Tyrone Power. Though neither man ever confirmed the rumors, their alleged relationship was whispered about in Hollywood circles for years. Romero remained a lifelong bachelor, and he never publicly commented on his sexuality. Power, a major film star of the 40s, passed away young, adding an air of mystery to their connection. 5. Billy Haynes and Jimmy Shields. Billy Haynes was one of Hollywood's most popular leading men in the 1920s and 30s before he gave up his career to live openly with his partner, Jimmy Shields. By the 1980s, their love story was legendary, as Haynes had chosen love over Hollywood's demand for him to remain closeted. They were together for over 50 years until Haynes's death in 1973. Their story remains one of Hollywood's most enduring romances. 6. Richard Chamberlain and Martin Rabbitt. Richard Chamberlain, a huge television star thanks to Dr. Kildare and the Thorn Birds, kept his relationship with actor-producer Martin Rabbitt hidden for years. The two were together for decades, with Rabbitt even managing Chamberlain's career. In the 1980s, they maintained their privacy while living together in Hawaii. Chamberlain did not come out publicly until much later, reflecting the pressure of maintaining an image in Hollywood. 7. Anthony Perkins and Barry Berenson. Anthony Perkins, the star of Psycho, lived much of his life in the closet despite having relationships with men before marrying Barry Berenson. The two had a family together, but Perkins's bisexuality was known in Hollywood. Perkins remained private about his personal life throughout his career. His death from AIDS-related complications in 1992 brought renewed attention to his life and struggles. 8. Sal Mineo and Courtney Burr. Sal Mineo, the star of Rebel Without a Cause, was one of the few actors in the 1960s and 1970s to live relatively openly as gay. His relationship with actor Courtney Burr lasted until Mineo's tragic murder in 1976. By the 1980s, Mineo had become a symbol of Hollywood's troubled gay history. His untimely death cut short what could have been an even greater career. 9. Rudolf Nureyev and Anthony Haynes. Ballet legend Rudolf Nureyev was one of the most famous dancers in the world, known for his wild charisma on stage and his defiance of the Soviet Union. His relationship with dancer Anthony Haynes was one of his many high-profile romances during the 1980s. Nureyev, who died of AIDS-related complications in 1993, lived unapologetically, embracing his sexuality despite the risks. He was an icon for both the arts and the gay community. 10. James Dean and Rogers Brackett. James Dean's sexuality has long been a subject of speculation, with rumors about relationships with both men and women. One of the most persistent rumors involved his relationship with Rogers Brackett, a successful producer who mentored Dean early in his career. Dean, who tragically died in a car crash in 1955, remains an enigmatic figure, and his rumored romances with men were part of the mystique surrounding his short life. 11. Liberace and Scott Thorson. Liberace was one of the most flamboyant and successful entertainers in history, with a career spanning decades. His relationship with Scott Thorson became tabloid fodder, especially after Thorson sued Liberace for palimony in 1982. The lawsuit exposed the secretive life of the entertainer, who had always denied being gay. Their tumultuous relationship was later turned into the movie Behind the Candelabra. 12. Peter Allen and Greg Connell. Peter Allen, the Grammy-winning Australian singer-songwriter, had a long-term relationship with model Greg Connell during the 1980s. Allen, who had been briefly married to Liza Minnelli, embraced his true self after the marriage ended. His life with Connell was filled with glamour and success, though both men eventually succumbed to AIDS-related complications in the 1990s. 13. Tommy Tune and David Wolfe. Tommy Tune, the Tony Award-winning Broadway star, was in a relationship with designer David Wolfe throughout much of the 1980s. Tune, known for his towering height and immense talent, kept his personal life fairly private during his peak years. Together, they were a stylish and successful couple, deeply embedded in both the theater and fashion worlds. 14. Stephen Sondheim and Peter Jones. The legendary composer Stephen Sondheim kept his private life out of the spotlight, but he was known to have had a long relationship with Peter Jones. Sondheim, responsible for classics like Sweeney Todd and Into the Woods, rarely discussed his personal life, but his work often explored complex themes of love and identity. His relationship with Jones, though discreet, was deeply significant. 15. James Whale and David Lewis. James Whale, the director of Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, was openly gay at a time when it was almost unheard of in Hollywood. By the 1980s, Whale's relationship with producer David Lewis had become the subject of much discussion, thanks in part to the film Gods and Monsters, which explored Whale's life. Whale's openness and creativity made him a pioneering figure in both film and gay history. 16. Vito Russo and Jeffrey Sevcik. Vito Russo, the author of The Celluloid Closet, was a major figure in the LGBTQ+ movement and lived openly with his partner, Jeffrey Sevcik. Russo's work documenting the portrayal of gays in film was groundbreaking in the 1980s, and his personal life mirrored his activism. Together, they became symbols of the fight for LGBTQ+ representation in media. 17. Gore Vidal and Howard Austin. Gore Vidal, the prolific writer and political commentator, was in a long-term relationship with Howard Austin, whom he met in the 1950s. The two were partners for over 50 years, though Vidal always rejected the label of gay, saying he was simply a man who loved men. Their intellectual and social life was legendary, with the couple being one of the most prominent gay relationships of the era. 18. Randy Shilts and Barry Barbieri. Randy Shilts, the pioneering gay journalist and author of And the Band Played On, was in a long-term relationship with Barry Barbieri during the 1980s. Shilts, who was one of the first openly gay reporters for a mainstream newspaper, used his platform to highlight the AIDS crisis. His relationship with Barbieri remained relatively private but was marked by Shilts' commitment to both his work and his partner. 19. Jack Wrangler and Margaret Whiting. Jack Wrangler, the gay porn star turned theater actor, surprised many when he married singer Margaret Whiting in the 1980s. Though Wrangler was open about his relationships with men, he and Whiting had a deep emotional connection that transcended sexual orientation. Their unconventional relationship challenged traditional notions of marriage and sexuality in Hollywood. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Hollywood secrets and stories.